Well, I'm so happy to have you here with me today, Z, and to have you talk to us about theater. One of the things that I just want to start off with you is to give people an idea of why it is that you decided that you wanted to be an entertainer. Why did you decide that you wanted to write plays and act plays and not just write them, but to actually get on stage? As an African American, we come from, and not just our culture, but other cultures that look on theater as a feminine thing, that most men shouldn't be doing that. And it comes with different things. Not only that, it comes sometimes people, parents especially, look on a person wanting to go into the entertainment world, especially the theater world, as, why would you waste your time with that?
Right.
Can't make any money with that. I need you to be a doctor, lawyer, something. And those kind of stereotypes, typical things that you have to put up with just by wanting to be an entertainer and being on stage. How did you, as an African American, when did you first, as an African American male, first decide, hey, I want to perform? And did you have any struggles or not? And if you did, talk to us about how did you overcome that so that you continue to go ahead and do what you wanted to do?
Absolutely. What a great question. And it's a packed question. So I'm going to condense it a little bit. But starting off as a young kid, I have the upbringing that many people share with me. You had the broken home situation, the dysfunctional family, you had all these other things going on. And I actually was one of the ones that grew up too fast, right? I remember things that I was living and going through at age 5 that if we look at a 5-year-old today, we can't comprehend how I handled it. I literally was cooking on the stove and chopping up fresh potatoes and frying them on the stove at 5 years old, okay? So with that foundation of my family and the dynamics and everything, I needed to find an escape. My escape originally was music. And with music, I was able to hear a story and express my feelings and so on and so forth. And immediately after, I felt like, well, I need to figure out how to write this down. I wasn't big on journaling, but I was really big on writing poems. And my aunt in New Jersey actually has a lot of my poems. She has a lot of my poems hanging up on her wall still in her house that I wrote in first, second, third, and fourth grade. And these poems were so dark and morbid and just like they were speaking from the innermost depths of my soul. I guess, that hurt and pain and the reality of life was coming out through my artistic ability that I did not recognize was necessarily there. I just had the desire to get it out. I just knew it wasn't good to stay inside. So there was one poem called End of the Road. This was before Boys and Men, End of the Road came out. And it was my way of expressing my reality, but also showing a sense of where is there a solution? Quickly by the 5th grade, because back then when I was in school, 6th grade was still in elementary school before they put it to the middle school. And I remembered I was always in chorus, because when you're in elementary school, you don't have a choice. You're part of chorus, band, and everything else. That quickly the teachers and everything, they realized that, hey, this guy has some artistic ability. Let's see what's going on. And when I heard the applause, I felt like I belonged. I felt like this is a place that I can flourish, that I can, when the lights come on, reality of life goes away. It's just me, those lights, and that audience. And from that point on, around 5th grade, going into 6th grade, I had this thing in the back of my head that I don't care what area it's in, but I want to be a star. I want to be a performer. I want to be someone that's just creative and can make people feel good and show them how to live life better and how family should be. And but I also realized that it was my way of expressing myself and having a voice, whereas when you're in a family that has so many different dynamics to it, you don't necessarily have a voice. I still had the old school family, the kids go on in the back room and play while the adults up front. And, you know, better not talk back. Don't ask me questions. Do as I say do, not as I do. You know, those old-fashioned principles that a lot of us were raised with was still prevalent in my life. So I didn't have that voice. Music, theater, and the arts became my escape from life. And that's how it began.
Did you have any problems at all in doing that? Did anyone give you any flack about it, or were you just able to just jump right into it and everybody was on board and it was okay?
I remember I came, you know, just fast forwarding a little bit and then jumping back. I remember I went off to college and I came back and joined the, you know, the choir and the drama ministry at my church. And I remember the minister of music, he came to me and said, you know, you were a young kid who thought he can sing or act or perform, but something happened when you went away that now you can do it. I say that to say that from elementary school all the way through, I was ridiculed for using my gifts. I was ridiculed by family, by classmates, the community. Believe it or not, I actually was bullied all the way through my childhood. Many people don't even know that, you know, because I still had this sense of confidence in me, because I knew there was something in me. There's something there. And if I just kept leaning on that, you know, I can make it to another day. But yeah, my family, you know, the negative reinforcement, you know, you better get good grades, you know, because your uncle, you know, he was the first Black male to be hired by Bell Labs in one of those, you know, top positions. And your aunt worked for AT&T for years. And all of these things that were coming at me to put me in this pocket of what my family felt like I should become. Because traditionally, a lot of males in my family did not become successful. And when they did, they didn't hold on to it. So the latter part of their lives fell down. So I'm getting all the backlash of that. So yeah, you let me sing, you don't mind me going to church, you allow me to be in these plays and the Christmas pageant and everything else. But when I come back home, I'm just me. And none of that matters. You better make sure your room is clean, your homework is done, because you got to get yourself a good job so you can get some benefits. Because back then, all of our parents talked about jobs that had pension attached to it. We don't have pension anymore. You have to buy and pay into your own retirement, you know, and employers sometimes match. But that was the mentality that I was being raised with, that you just need to get through school, get a good job that you can work for the rest of your life and retire. And
talk to us a little bit about your feelings and beliefs. You know, right now we're living in a time when the world, especially America, is struggling with a lot of dynamics in regards to social issues that involve racism, police brutality, homophobia is now increased. People now are just spewing out a lot of things that are based on either their political or their religious beliefs.
Yeah.
And we know that theater first started off as a means to challenge authority figures, to challenge the political views and things like that. So what do you talk to us about? If you know, where do you see theater going? And firstly about, I know a name and what does it, what are your goals and how are you contributing to
the social
what's happening?
Climate? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, another great question. I love it. So I Know a Name is an organization that started off as just a college organization between myself and two other of my best friends. And we wanted to create company or organization that pulls in all sorts of talents to create events. And so it's a collaborative type company. Here we are, fast forward 24 years later, we are a full-fledged business. And what we are, we represent, and I don't know if you can kind of see it right there, but knowing the name next to us, knowing that name above us, I know a name, is what ICANN is all about. We are an inspirational, spiritual-based company that acknowledges higher power, our belief system, and faith. But with those principles, we want to look at those individuals that are to the left of us and the right of us and find a way to work and cohabitate, collaborate, and everything thereof to create solutions. So we tag ourselves as a creative solutions group. So that's anything with, we can help you start your business all the way to full-fledged festivals. We have done this in 24 years. And the way that ICANN has worked along with the community, actually not just in this social climate in 2020, but even back there when Rodney King and the police brutality was an issue then, and the cops got acquitted. I remember being the head of a protest, a sit-in, where we were just protesting. ICANN today has been kind of on the forefront. We've been down to the protests. We've been vocal. We are creating solutions. So now that we're in this position where we have the pandemic on one side, we have a social climate that is politically driven, that it is driven by everyone's individual beliefs and thoughts, and everyone believes that they're right. You know what I'm saying? Something very hard to give a platform to all the voices so that we can actually communicate and identify solutions. We have created programming for youth and young adults simply because while we're dealing with the social climate and we have so many uncertainties, we felt, and I felt, that if we don't create something to give the young adults a voice because they are our leaders for tomorrow, we're missing an opportunity to fix some things. So creating online forums and giving them a voice and creating a online television show, Reality Vibes, which is a little raw and a little risque, but it is honest. It's their voice. I can a lot of online forums. We have created songs. We have created short plays. We even created a short movie for the city of Columbus and some of the parks and recreation.
That as the playwright now.
Yeah.
Talk about that writing and how you feel what's your responsibility as the playwright? And do you plan on writing any more plays? And if you are, how do you feel can you do it right now with the way things are virtually and not in the social distancing?
Yeah, absolutely. Now listen, I chose my background today based upon what is on the table and ready to go. The writing in the plays that I have created over the years, and trust me, I've only produced about 6 to 7 of them over the last 24 years. But we are gearing up to really produce some hard-hitting full stage musicals, as well as comedic dramas, as well as tragic comedies. There's one that you may see to my side that's called Prodigal Father. This is my way of writing scripts that speak to the heart of our communities and our families. In all of my scripts, I want there to be some realization of what the issue is. Too many times in our culture, again, going back to our upbringing, we have swept so many things underneath the rug. But we don't get anywhere not dealing with stuff. So my scripts always find a way to identify where's the issue. What's the problem here? You know what I'm saying? And then we want to tackle it in a creative way of finding possible solutions. By no means do I believe that I have an absolute answer to anyone's issue. But what I do have are options. I have a voice, and the voice comes out through the characters. Prodigal Father, it's taking the age-old biblical story of the prodigal son, and instead of beating down that same topic that we've heard so many times, he wanted his inheritance, went off, we're actually looking at it from the father's perspective. Then correlate that to our families. How many broken homes are there? How many fathers that are just on child support? How many fathers are not with their children for whatever reason? We never look at it from the father's perspective. So we have this musical that's going to be coming out that we're looking at it from the father. How does he hold his heart together so that when that day comes, that his son returns, that he can accept him with open arms? We never talk about the turmoil and the anguish and everything that we go through as parents when we send our kids out into this world, right? And the world and society fills their heads up with all this, that, and the third. And then they come back through our doors thinking that they can act like Boo Boo the Fool.
How
No,
do you
no.
how do you plan on so this is obviously something that you plan on in the future, or are you plan on trying to do it social distancing?
Yeah.
How are you planning on doing it? You know, a lot of theater companies have been kind of put on hold. However, they are breaking out and doing things you know, based on what they can
Uh-huh.
do.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that's where a lot of theater companies are right now.
Well, and here's the thing, Miss Julie. I wanna answer that question real quick because and one thing about the creative world, many times, and I do encourage everyone that's in theater and listening to this interview that it's not a competition, you all. We don't serve every single person. There's no possible way that you can capture every demographic out there in the world. So there's an audience for everyone. So I don't have a problem showing and telling you some of my strategies of how to do it. I want you to duplicate it. I want you to duplicate it and even get it better. So here's how I plan to do it. We will be launching some of these plays before social distancing is up. What it comes down to is a lot of pre-taping for certain portions
Well, that's
with
you know that's exactly what's going on right now, Z. And one thing I think is important that we have to remember too is, and like you said, it's not about a competition.
nope.
It's just, and the people that do that and think that usually fail.
Uh-huh.
One of the things that um, I don't actually want you to tell me your techniques and all of that,
Oh, no, I just want to give
because
them some ideas.
everybody's doing it the same. I mean, everybody has to do it the same way. You
Uh-huh.
either have one or two choices. You
Uh-huh.
either pre-tape it, or you live stream it, or you live stream it and you pre-tape it while you're
Uh-huh.
live streaming it so that you can play it again later. Everybody's doing that. You know, so but what I want to know is, have you found any difficulties in it? Because one of the things that's out there are some people have decided they're not going to do theater at all until real theater comes back and I can get on the stage and have the audience that generate that energy. Other people have decided, well, we're just going to do short plays with only 2 or 3 people. That way we can do the social distancing and still put on the play.
Uh-huh.
You know, there's
Uh-huh.
a lot of plays. Companies are asking for plays right now that only have 2 to 3 characters in it for that reason, so that they
Mhm.
can still do it and do it. So my question is basically not how you're going to do it or what, but basically, do you see yourself doing it? Do you see yourself having the ability to still put on performance the way you usually do in this climate, or do you think that theater is gone until we can get back on the stage and have an audience?
Yeah, I don't see that there are what many people see as limitations, I see as a welcome challenge.
Mm,
Um, what it does take is finding and learning new skills, which I've used this time of the pandemic to hone some of those other crafts and skills. So for myself, yes, I'll be able to move forward with some live performances, practicing social distancing.
mhm,
The solutions that I've come up with in order to produce some of these things, it does involve a lot of technology and a lot of know-how. And here's the big word: collaboration.
mhm,
When we're in this situation and everyone's in the same boat, well, we're on the same ocean, but maybe different boats, right?
mhm.
Um, it's not a bad idea to ask for help and to collaborate with people, because if you don't wear every hat, then that frees you up to be excellent at your portion and your lane. So yeah, the difficulties are not that big on my side, simply because the way I approached our social distancing time and pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
I went into it with an open mind and optimistic. I went into it creating to meet that point of need. So I think in my mind, mentally, and for myself and my company, we're constantly creating. We have not stopped. We have not stopped pulling in different talents and working and stuff like that, and still maintaining our health, making sure that everyone stays safe. Um, yeah. So I don't see it much as a difficult task and limitations. I see it as a welcome challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think those of us that are in the business, like I said, they're either doing one or two things: either looking on this as a challenge and keep on moving, or saying I'll just wait. Um, it's one of those. But hey, everything's coming virtual right now. I think one of the strong parts of people that are in the entertainment world is that we are versatile, and those of us, and we go through it, we do what we need to do. And I think a lot of it also has to do with that we're creative people.
Yeah.
And if we don't get it out creatively, it's
We're gonna
going to come
explode.
out negatively. So it's one of those, like, that's why that's why they're still having the country music awards, the AMC, the Emmys, all that stuff that people thought, well, how are they going to do it? Or they're just not going to do it. Yeah, they're going to do it. We're going to pre-tape it. We're going to do some of it live. We're going to do that. We're going to mix it up because we have to. The show
must go on.
Must go on.
And you raised a valid point. What people don't realize is that through every point in history, somehow theater played an integral role in keeping the society and community moving, informed, and entertained. Mm-hmm. Always, like you said in the very beginning, theater back to Shakespeare time and all, like years
Caesar.
and thousands of years ago.
Caesar.
It was a way to express their views, to sometimes satire, where they're making fun of the political realms and kingdoms and so on and so forth. But theater and entertainment has always been there to keep us moving. And I get so upset when people look at people in theater and they say, well, it's more of a feminine role. No, it's not. You don't understand. Becoming a character and being a reflection of life is a gift. It is a gift that not everyone possesses. To be able to make an audience member feel, whether it's virtually or in person, that your character has gone through something and you bringing them to a climax, that's only something that theater can provide for you. That's not something that the movie can provide. The movie can take you through ups and downs and through the roller coaster, but theater is in your face. Mm-hmm. Theater is a reality check. Theater is a way of speaking life through the arts.
Yes. Yeah, and I love
authentic. Theater. It's authentic.
Mm-hmm.
It's authentic. And listen, like you said, the show must go on. I can't tell you how many times over the years, whether it's virtual or where we are now and how it's been before, nothing goes perfect. There are so many things that happen, but like you said, the show must go on. And if we don't have theater during this time, our people, our communities, our society will be lacking so much more than what they are right now. Like they need it. They need it in order to breathe some. Mm-hmm. Let someone else speak your story from that stage or over that computer or over that live stream. Let someone else be able to express it so that you can breathe. That we're here to minister. Theater is a ministry to me. Mm. Yeah. That's the foundation of it.
Yeah, I like that. So tell us, I like to ask my guests to think about something that you would say to a young person, or even, I'll take that back, not just a young person, something that you would say to anyone that would like to take a chance at writing a play or performing or singing. What advice would you give to them, especially during this challenging time? to keep their spirits up, especially our students and things that are in schools. They don't know what's going on right now. Those that have graduated and, you know, put their life in thinking of how can I do this? What kind of advice do you have for them? And keep this in mind, Z, because we didn't get to this, but as an African American, what kind of advice do you give to other people of color, especially men of color, who want to do this?
Yeah. I'll tackle it from who I am, a Black male living in 2020. That is an entertainer, an actor, a singer, a dancer, all of those things. What I want to tell other boys, men of color, and other people of color, artists, is that you have a story that no one else can tell. Whether your story is about the loss of a loved one, or the love of your life, or the questions that you have in your mind, or yesterday's meal, you have a story that no one else can tell for you. You just have to be confident in telling that story. For many of us, theater on stage is that place that we love to tell those stories. But for you, it may be writing it. For you, it may be creating a song or a poem. For you, it may be simply just recording a selfie video and saying it and letting someone else collaborate with someone else that's an editor that can look at it and say, hey, we can turn this into a nice little short, PSA or something. What I do encourage every young Black kid, every person of color, every young person that aspires to be an entertainer on theater or dance or singing, is that you have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. And all it takes is you taking a step of confidence, a step of faith, and a step of action. You have to act on it. We are called actors because we have to act. We have to move. We have to do. Right? We may be all dramatic and extra. Yeah, I'm extra. I'm extra. I admit it. You know, however, I wasn't always so confident to get out there and just, hey, lights, come on, let's go. No, I had to start somewhere. I had to learn from other people. I had to ask questions. I had to sit and just watch and listen and don't say anything. But what I did do was something. What I did do was take a step forward. What I did do is try. You have to try. You have to try. And during this time of pandemic, we have access to so much technology through phones and computers. Listen, they're giving away free hotspot and everything for if you're a student. Utilize those things to hone your crafts and your gifts and your talents and your desires. Some people don't start off knowing how to do something that they desire to do. Right? Some people have to take step by step to learn it and perfect their craft. And that's okay too. And I don't want anyone to ever believe that that because you see someone that's been in the game for 30 years or 50 years, that you're any lesser than them. You're not. You're not. You're just at a different point in your career. So take that, tackle that, enjoy that, and keep moving, keep moving. Trust me, every step that you take, every character that you play, every time you look at something entertaining, every time you put effort into your dream stays alive another day.
All right, that's a good word. So how do people get in touch with
Absolutely.
you?
Absolutely. Now listen, you can literally look up me, ZF Taylor, or you can look up my company, I Can For You. That's IKAN, the number 4, the letter U, and you will find me. Also on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. We have branding and websites and all that stuff. Trust me, if you look up ZF Taylor or I Can For You, you're gonna find us.